Hey guys, I am at the tail end of my first playthrough, and during this playthrough, I had I wanted to build a very compact way to have a single stream of random um, items and have them get sorted and stored and also sent to my factory all at the same time. So I designed this thing. I don't know if it's already been done before. I'm sure it has, but I just wanted to make a tutorial because I couldn't really find anything at the time on it, and I wanted to share it with you. Without further ado, let me show you the sort and store and serve. So you can make this in a right or left orientation. This is the right side, so things will come in this way, and then they get stored off to the right. But you can also do the same thing and store it off to the left. No issue. Just keep the anything going in this direction the same. But then you guys can flip down here. I have a smart splitter, and it goes right. You can just swap that out for left, and then everything else gets flipped around as well. So let me show you generally how this is going to work. So things will come in on the bottom. It'll go into a smart splitter, which will send out the item that you want to the right side. So in this one, I have a empty canister. This one we have the encased industrial beams, and this one we have rubber. They will get sent into the storage. Storage will then overflow into these conveyor belts. So these conveyor belts will go out into your factory wherever you need them to go. Um, and then I have mine build an extra layer. You can remove it like this. Um, Anything that if your factory backs up, which is fine, it will then overflow into the next level. If there's nothing attached, it doesn't do anything. But you can optionally, I like to put a dimensional storage on some of them, and then that if the factory is backed up, it'll overflow into a dimensional storage. So and then at the bottom, sorry, I forgot to mention, there's also an overflow for if all of those get backed up, then everything's full. Then it will overflow out the end here on the second tier, where I usually connect that up to a sink. And then this bottom tier, like I said, it's a single stream, so it'll just take whatever is coming along. So if it's not an empty canister or encased beam or rubber, then it'll just come out here. So this is like my junk pile. Um, let's see what this looks like. So I'm just going to place these things in kind of randomly, and we can see how this all works out. Um, so these are all coming in. As you can see, these are filling up. We haven't gotten any empty canisters yet since these haven't come, but these have been served. There comes the empty canisters. So these are serving to the factory. As these are coming in, these are filling up. Right now we got encased industrial beams, so that's filling up. And then in here we had our dimensional storage here for rubber is full. So now this one is filling up. And that's basically how it works. In here, oh, I didn't put any of these in there, so they should be going through, and they should have come out the other side. So I really like these. I use them. Sorry, my face is pretty ugly. But I like to use them like with trains and things like that, where basically all my computing stuff comes in on this freight platform, and then it all gets sorted, and then all of these belts are going out to the main factory. But as you can see, uh, circuit boards, um, oops, sorry, AI, circuit boards, computers, and then supercomputers, and that's all going out. And supercomputers has dimensional storage. Okay, so if this interests you, let's see how it's built. I am using a few kind of tricks here. So I'll quickly show you what those look like. I didn't delete anything in the back. Oh, I did. Of course I did. Um, Okay, so the first trick that we're going to use is we are going to normally you can't or placing the height of the lifts is usually like what is it, like 3 or whatever, 2. So getting them one-on-one like this is not obvious. But what you can do is you can actually place them two on top of each other, and then if you you get this clipping normally. But if you rotate this around, you get a blue placement, and you can actually place this, and this all works. If you didn't know that, there you go. But we want to do a little better than that. And in order to do that, we need a second trick, which is going to be how to embed these lifts inside of the actual splitters. So in order to do that, we will we need to kind of shift these around. So if you didn't know, you can nudge. If you hit the H key, it'll put you in nudge mode. Page up and page down will bring you up and down. And then you can use the arrow keys to move around. So when you're right on top of each other, you can hit, I'm just going to do the normal height of a lift so we see each trick independently. But if you hit the opposite side of where you're trying to place 3 times, 1, 2, 3. So I'm trying to place on this side right here. And then you grab yourself a lift, you can place it here. And then if you rotate around, once again, you get this blue and you are embedded. So these are all connected up. Not really helpful when we're like this, so you can just delete this here and make sure these are oriented correctly, especially if you're using a merger instead of a splitter. But you can just place this right on top. And now these are connected and they are embedded. You can combine these 2 tricks together. That looks like this. So 1, 2, 3. Place that. Grab a lift. Rotate around. We get a blue. And then we can just take our splitter, make sure we get our orientation correct. So our input is coming in from this side. And then we can place it. Now, when you're placing these, we need to actually be a little careful. So right now you can see that my glowing highlight is on the lift itself. That's not what we want. We actually want this to be on the splitter, like this. So right now the splitter is glowing, and so get it there. The lift is glowing. So we don't want it on the lift. We do want it on the splitter like this. So this will work. The other way will not. And that's how we get 2 of these stacked together. It looks pretty good. I mean, there are a few like visual glitches, like it's kind of hanging out this side, but overall, I think it's definitely worth it. So we'll be using those to build this. Let's get started. So at the bottom, we're going to want to take a smart splitter. By the way, middle click will copy any item. So I'll be using that through there. So we'll start off with a smart splitter. And on the bottom here, as we're coming in, our center is going to be anything undefined. So this is going to be our single stream. Just anything that's not an empty canister is just going to go straight. To our right, we are going to want to do our first and only sort, where we actually grab the item. You can select whatever item that you want to pull out. And then our left is going to be the overflow, and we'll get to that in a minute. So that's easy enough. I'm going to just get this started here. So we have that available. We are going to want to place our storage container. We grab one of these, connect that up, and that is all basic and normal and dandy. Next, we're going to want to bring this up a level to bring it to our next level. And you can obviously do it like this, but you can also use our trick to embed it if you want to. So hit H, 1, 2, 3, pull it over. Obviously pull out your gun. Put this in, and then we're going to rotate this around until we get blue. Erase our container, and we're going to place it again, making sure we place it correctly. So these are connected now. Great. And the next level, we are going to want a merger here. So this is going to be where all of our overflows just merge and turn into a single stream of overflows. We want mergers for those, but notice that we need to lift it up into that level. So let's first just grab a merger, and this is a fine orientation. So hit H, 1, 2, 3. Place that there. I'm going to grab a MK5 lift here. Actually, this is. I'm a little concerned that this is going to connect. Maybe we should do this first. Okay. And then we delete our merger, and we're going to place our merger back. So when we're placing it back, we want to make sure that our green arrow is facing opposite of the input. So this is looking good. We're going to double check that our glow is around this splitter below it and not around the lift. So that should be connected well. And then now we can, where'd this come from? Now we can place a smart splitter on top. So just grab smart splitter here. We are going to have our input coming from that lift over there. So let's just place this here. And for this splitter, we're going to, our center output is any. This is actually going to be our factory. You could specify it to be like the empty canister in our case, but it's always going to be an empty canister because of the smart splitter at the bottom level. And our right output is going to be overflow. And this is going to be the overflow to our top level, which is going to be our dimensional storage. Nothing yet comes out the left, because that's going to be this hole here. So from there, we can grab our 5 belt, connect that up. And things are looking good so far. So the last thing is our top level. This actually doesn't really matter what we put here. It could be a splitter or a merger because it's just going to go into our dimensional storage. The one thing we do need to make sure is important is I'm going to have, we set up our smart storage so it's right side. Whoop. Our right side is going to overflow, so we need to make sure that our input on the top side is the same one. So let me grab that. So our input on this side, and we're going to use the trick again. So H to left. That's that. A lift, and we should run into an issue here. So when I try to point it towards my smart splitter on the third tier, it is not going to want to connect there. And the reason is that there is a hole here that it's going to try to connect to. There's actually lots of holes on these splitters and mergers that we need to handle. So easiest way to handle that is just take, we're going to want one of these anyway. Just fill in all of these, and then we will delete them later. And once that is done, this one. So for this one, I try to do that. We're going to keep this one. This is the factory side, and I like to delete that there. So now it should still work. So we still get a clipping here, but you can see the bottom of this lift is missing, which means we're going to connect fine. So that's there. Let's put a splitter. Make sure that's oriented correctly. Should be good to go. So for this one, this is the overflow. So I'm actually going to want to keep that one. So I'm going to do this. Pop it in one, but do it at the bottom level. Okay. My personal taste is to not, in my blueprint, I don't include this belt in my blueprint. I do include this belt, and I include the belt on this side. Reason is just so I know which one's input and output. But it doesn't really matter because you're gonna have to wipe these belts anyway. I just leave them there as reminders because this will not connect to that. And if you try to do the auto connect, then it won't allow you to place them this closely together. So I basically just do it like that in my blueprint, and then I just delete them and I recreate them. There might be a better way to do it. So this is mostly complete. The last thing we need is if you want to do dimensional storage, you it's like this, pull it over there, hit H, page up twice to get them lined up there, and then just grab a belt and connect that. And now your dimensional storage is good to go. We don't need this. This will be the overflow from previous ones, but we can just test to see if it works. That, and let's just make sure everything is good. We can throw in, we could do at the bottom here, empty canisters. I don't know if I have any of those left. Grab some. So if I put some empty canisters in here, and then throw some junk, empty canisters in. The single stream says that these are not what I'm looking for, so they just passed them on. And then if this filled up completely, then we would have an overflow of empty canisters on this level. And then obviously the storage has well, the storage is not filled up because it delegated all the way up to our dimensional storage, and then it took out any for our factory first. So that's basically it in a nutshell. I hope this is useful to you. Like I said, you can just swap around the storage and everything on this right side to the left, then you can have the opposite orientation. I hope this is helpful. If you don't want the top one, you can just strip it off like this. And you can cut that height. That's about it. Later.